Alright, here's some help for April 13th's packet. I'm going to do problem A in number 1, 2, and 3. So here what we have is problem 1A. Please correct yours in your packet as I typed it up wrong on accident. So now let's get started. This problem I would try and factor to find out information about it. So basically what we have here is an A value of 2, so I would divide everything by 2, and this will convert our problem into 2 times the parentheses of x squared plus 4x plus 3. Now what we have is this parentheses, which is going to be a lot easier to factor. So we're going to make our Punnett Square so we can factor. We've got x squared and our important, and that comes from x and x, and our important part in this one is the 3, which is our c value, and that goes down here. So we got to look at numbers that can multiply to give us 3. Well, it's 1 and 3. Since there's no negatives, don't have to worry about anything else. So we're going to get positive 1 here, positive 3 here, which gives us 3x and positive 1x. So positive 3, positive 1 make our positive 4x. So it works. So our factored form ends up being y equals 2 times x plus 3 times x plus 1. So we have our factored form, which if we need to write it again would go right here. But what we're going to use it for is to find our roots and vertex and create vertex form. So we go x plus 3 equals 0. Subtract 3 on both sides and get x equals negative 3 for our first root. And we've got x plus 1 equals 0. Subtract 1 on both sides to get x equals negative 1 as our second root. To find the vertex, we just average these two. So we've got negative 1 plus negative 3 over 2, which gives us negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2. So we have a vertex of negative 2, and then we just have to figure out our y value, which is going to be 2 times negative 2 plus 3 times negative 2 plus 1. So we have 2 times 1 times negative 1, which would give us negative 2. Our vertex form would then be y equals, we have an a value of 2, so it stays 2, times x plus 2, always the opposite, squared minus 2. So there's our vertex form. Then all we have to do is graph. So we have negative 3, 0, which we're going to put right here, negative 1, 0, which is right here, and negative 2 right here, and draw our parabola. Okay, now we're going to go on to problem 2a. In 2a, this one I've actually put into your problem correctly. So in 2a, we're going to complete the square to find our roots, our vertex, and do all the graphing and such. So what we do is we want to move our 16 to the other side. So subtract the 16 on both sides. Now is the part where we want to complete the square, so we do our little Punnett Square, go x squared comes from x and x. And in this one, the 10 is the important thing. And it's a negative 10. And what we want to do is we want to cut it in half. So we want negative 5x and negative 5x. That's going to come from a negative 5 and negative 5, which tells us we should add 25 to both sides, as negative 5 and negative 5 make positive 25 when you multiply. So add 25 to both sides, and that's going to give us 9 equals, and when we rewrite the right side, we're going to write it in our factored form. So the x minus 5 times x minus 5, which can be written x minus 5 squared. At this point, we now know the vertex as its exact opposites here. So we've got positive 5 for an x value and negative 9 for a y value. And from here we just finish the problem by square rooting to look for roots. So we get 3 equals x minus 5 and negative 3 equals x minus 5. Add 5 on both sides and you should get 8 equals x and 2 equals x. Okay, so then we take our roots and our vertex and move on to creating vertex form and factored form. So vertex form here, this time we had an a value of 1, so we got 1 times x minus 5 squared minus 9. And in factored form, these are always the opposite. We've got y equals a value of 1, x minus 2 times x minus 8. So now we have the factored form and vertex forms. Last thing that we want to do for this is graph it. So we've got 2, 0, 8, 0, and we have 5, negative 9, and draw our parabola again. Okay, third problem is utilizing the quadratic formula, because it's not exactly written very easy to work with. So one of the keys is to identify our a is 3, our b is positive 6, and our c is positive 2, and then create the quadratic formula. So we're always going to go the opposite of our b to start, negative 6 here, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so we're going to go 6 squared, minus 4 times our a of 3 times our c of 2, and then big division bar, 2 times a, which is 3. Then we're going to go about doing this math. So I like to always start with the discriminant. So we're going to get 36 from 6 squared minus 4 times 3 times 2, which is 24. So this gives us 12. So our math problem is really negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 12 over, and then I'm going to reduce this, or not reduce it, but simplify it into 6. So we have negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 12 all over 6. I'm going to then split this into 2 problems and do each. So negative 6 plus the square root of 12 is about 3.5, so that's what we're going to use, over 6, and negative 6 minus 3.5 over 6. We're just going to estimate it on this situation. So our 2 examples here are going to give us answers that are about a certain amount. So we're going to get about negative 2.5 over 6, which we're going to round to negative 0.42, and we're going to get negative 9.5 over 6, which we're going to round to about negative 1.58. And these are the roots that we're going to use. Last thing that we need for quadratic formula is we need the vertex. So we're going to take negative 6 over 2 times 3, which is negative b over 2a. This is going to give us negative 6 over 6, which is negative 1. We're then going to take this negative 1 and put it back into our equation to find the y value. So we're going to go 3 times negative 1 squared plus 6 times negative 1 plus 2. And we're going to focus in on this first part here. Negative 1 squared is just positive 1, and then we're going to take 3 times 1 and get 3. We're then going to focus in on this part right here, 6 times negative 1, which is negative 6. And then we're just going to bring down our plus sign and bring down our plus 2. Now we have this problem to finish with, 3 plus negative 6 plus 2, which should give us negative 3 plus 2, which is negative 1 for a y value. So we have a vertex of negative 1, negative 1. So here we have the roots negative 4.2, 0 and negative 1.58, 0. So that would allow us to create factored form very easily. All we need now is an a value, which was 3 to start with. So we've got y equals 3 times, always going to be opposites, x plus 0.42 times x plus 1.58. We can also, since we have the vertex, make vertex form. So again, y equals 3 times, we've got x, opposite of negative 1 is positive 1, so x plus 1 squared minus 1. So we now have factored form and vertex form from using the quadratic formula. Last thing we can do is we can graph these. Now this graph is going to be kind of small as of where the numbers are. So we've got negative 4.2, which is about halfway between 0 and negative 1. Then we've got negative 1.58, which is about halfway between negative 1 and negative 2. And then we've got negative 1 down here. And draw our little parabola. And then we are done. So this were the problems 1A, 2A, and 3A from your packet for today. If there are any questions, please write those down, bring them tomorrow, and rewatch any parts of the video that you need extra help on. Thank you.